Association. With us to assess where today's developments leave us is Yannick Naud, who is portfolio manager at Glendoven King Asset Management. Welcome to the programme. So the markets, as always, spike a little bit and then they calm down and the air goes out of them. So what does that suggest about whether they think this is enough to keep the Eurozone together? Well,
I mean, the move from the ECB was widely expected, and the move from the Bank of England as well is widely expected. So as such, it was not a surprise to the market. The market was expecting a cut by 0.25% on both the benchmark rate and the discount rate, and it's exactly what the market got.
But the European Central Bank has very little ammunition now, yes, doesn't it, with rates at 0.75%?
Yes, I mean, obviously they could lower the rate from 0.75 to 0.5% within the end of the year. The discount rate at 0 will not be pushed lower, even though in Denmark and Switzerland, Denmark today had a negative interest rate of minus 0.2% for the equivalent of the discount rate. So it is possible, but I think it's unlikely. So except lowering the rate, LTRO is probably not in the card yet, because we are still dealing with the consequences of the LTRO, which was too much a concentration of risk between banks and their governments. So I don't think there will be any action from the ECB soon on that front.
Should we be encouraged or disappointed by the fact that the Central Bank of China has made a similar move?
Well, I think most of central banks were thinking that by acting within 45 minutes, they will have a much bigger reaction in the market. They will have a beneficial reaction. I mean, it doesn't happen very often that the ECB, the Bank of England, and the Chinese the Chinese central bank are acting the same day within 45 minutes. And I would think they are disappointed. I think it's mean that June data, probably Chinese June data, are not as good as what we expected so far. And the policymaker did that in order to prevent any market movement.
So now we've seen measured at the end of last week for the Eurozone really to lend directly to banks.
Yes.
One can only assume they might be in Spain,
yes,
for example. And really, a lack of further ideas on the table. Is it going to be enough? Can we assume now that the Eurozone crisis is in its final throes?
Well, there's two elements to it. I mean, first of all, the amount of money available, whether it's through EFSF or ESM, is the same. It's 500 billion. There's no the plan of leveraging this money is not going to happen because Germany don't want and because some other country don't want. So what we have now is that it will be easier to allocate those funds. I mean, ESM should be able to recapitalize bank directly and should be able to buy bond on secondary market, which was not the case before. I don't think the ECB will buy bond in the market like Monsieur Trichet was doing before. I think it will be the job of the ESM from now on, and it will be one less tool for the ECB, in fact.
Just to come back to the subject of banks, the head of the Italian Banking Association, yes, was there suggesting that the Italian banks are stable because, of course, they haven't had the property bubble that we saw, yes, in Spain and Ireland. Different situation, admittedly. However, banks right around Europe are holding a lot of sovereign debt, so yes, they are inextricably linked, their fortunes are inextricably linked to each other.
Exactly. I mean, the main consequences of the 1 trillion LTRO, it's that banks this year were buying their own government bonds. They were clear incentive because of the 1% 3-year lending rate from the ECB to buy their own government rate. And therefore, even a very good bank had the incentive to buy a lot of government bonds. I mean, Spain and Italy were the biggest buyer of government bonds.
Thank you very much indeed. And they, of course, have deteriorated in value, and that's the, yes, point you're making, right? Thank you very much. Well, let's now